Hi, I'm Joe from As the Joe Flies.
And I'm Leslie from Trips with Tykes.
And welcome back to Disney Deciphered. So it is our annual Thanksgiving episode, Leslie. Another year in the books for Disney Deciphered. For those of you who may be new to the podcast, every year for our Thanksgiving episode, we just talk about things that we've been thankful for in the Disney world, in the Disney stratosphere. I don't know what the best way to phrase that is, but you know what we're saying. Disney-wise, what are we thankful for? So it's been a busy year, lots of announcements, lots of things have changed. I will start by saying I am not thankful for all the changes in the sense that we have to relearn all these new things, although I guess I am thankful that it gives us new content and keeps us fresh, Leslie. But it's been a great year, lots of stuff going on, a lot to be thankful for.
Yeah, thankful we're still here doing this podcast. You guys are still listening and supporting. We really do appreciate it. And, we've gotten to take each a couple of great trips this year, and I still have a few more coming down the pike here. And you just scheduled one too. So we actually both have trips before the year is up. So thanks so much for everybody for being around here for us.
Yeah, and special shout out and thank you to our Patreon subscribers. The community, I think, has been growing both in terms of numbers, but also in terms of participation this year. So we're really thankful for that in the Facebook group and thankful for all of you. All right, so let's get to the things that we're thankful for. We have 3 things each. Leslie, why don't you kick us off? What are you first thankful for in 2024?
So I'm thankful this year that we got some real announcements of things that are actually going to be built and are actually coming soon. I think, did Josh D'Amaro call it shovel ready projects? I think was how he phrased it this year at D23. And so I'm really glad to see that things are moving. Obviously, with change comes things that close, and some people are upset about things closing and being replaced and whatnot. But on balance, I'm generally very happy to see the direction that Disney's going, that it's investing money in the parks, especially at World, because I still have been on record for years and years that there are not full day parks in Orlando for the most part. Magic Kingdom is, but the rest of the parks are not really full day parks, and they need more. So excited about things like Tropical Americas going into Animal Kingdom. I am cautiously optimistic about what's happening in Magic Kingdom, even the replacement of the Rivers of America, seeing that Cars Land going in there. Really excited about Villains Land and Magic Kingdom. So lots of new things happening. I'm just keeping my fingers crossed that ground starts getting broken and these things move forward with all deliberate speed.
Definitely. And the first thing I'm thankful for is kind of the flip side of what you're saying, Leslie. I'm just glad that it's not going to be a long time and things are already going under refurbishment, but it feels like for the first time in a long time, we finished a phase of Disney construction. Epcot is complete. Are we happy with what we ended up with Epcot compared to what we were promised? Maybe not, but at the very least, it's a completed product and we don't expect any huge changes. Animal Kingdom was all set. Hollywood Studios was all set. Magic Kingdom was all set. All these things are going to start going under construction very soon. But I think, it's very rare where you have even half a year where everything is open and running in the parks for the most part, and with only 1 or 2 refurbishments happening at a time. And, once Big Thunder Mountain closes down and they start really getting to it with the Magic Kingdom stuff, I think we'll see pretty quickly early in 2025 a lot of construction go up and things happening. The stuff's closing in Animal Kingdom too. So I'm just happy for this time when at a snapshot of this very moment in time, the parks are more or less complete. But as Walt says, they're always going to be changing. They're always going to be growing. And like you said, I'm really excited for a lot of the stuff that they've announced as well. All right, so I'm going to go ahead with my second thing that I'm thankful for. And although there was much consternation when it first started, I really loved Lookout Key, Disney Cruise Line's newest private island destination. I think that in the latter half of the year, as Disney has worked out the issues with the flies and all sorts of issues, and as Lookout Key has become more and more fully operational, I think people just have better and better reviews of it. I liked it the first time that I went, which was in July, pretty early on in Lookout Key's run, but I think it's a great addition to Disney Cruise Line's portfolio. I am starting to actively look for Lookout Key itineraries versus Castaway Key itineraries. Some of that is recency bias, but I also think that overall I enjoy Lookout Key more. Yes, there's the super long walk to get there, and that is not the best. And when it's hot or if it's rainy, I'm sure that's miserable. But once you get to the island itself, it's just way above Castaway Key in my mind. I really enjoyed it, and I didn't have any issues with the flies like people had to begin. So very thankful for Lookout Key. Thankful that Disney keeps investing in Disney Cruise Line. As we're recording today, Leslie, I'm sure you saw in some Disney group that you're in, but the Treasure pulled in to Port Canaveral this morning. So the Treasure is stateside. They're going to start going through their test runs and things like that, getting ready for the inaugural in December. But I think it's just really exciting, all the stuff that's been going on with Disney Cruise Line, and Lookout Key at the top of that list. Really glad that they got that island or island destination, since it's technically a peninsula, and really enjoyed it. And hopefully you get to go see it soon.
Yeah, I'm really hopeful that I get to see it. Probably not super soon, but it looks fantastic. I'm glad, like you say, and I think this was one of our things we were thankful for last year. We were just thankful generally for Disney Cruise Line and all of the expansions that were happening there. And that is kind of the cherry on top, having that additional destination out of Florida. And yeah, just hope I can make it happen. It's just a long way from California. I mean, that's actually one thing I'm really glad when Disney Cruise is expanding more generally, is they're going to be able to be more accessible to those of us who live on the West Coast. It's just a long trip to get all the way to Port Canaveral or Fort Lauderdale for all of those sailings. But that's why I'm taking a Disney cruise out of Galveston for Thanksgiving this year. So I guess while people are listening to this show, I will be on that cruise at that very moment. So bon voyage. All right. My second thing that I am thankful for, I'm thankful this year for the competition that we're getting in the theme park world. I mean, as we're recording this, we now have an opening date for Epic Universe at Universal. And we've just been seeing a lot of expansions at other theme parks around the world, around the country. And I'm glad that Disney is kind of, having its feet held to the fire by other players in this market, because I think that's good. Rising tide lifts all boats. Universal itself, I mean, what's coming at Epic Universe, I'm so excited about. I was just talking with my husband this week. We're definitely going to schedule a trip. I mean, not immediately, but within probably the first year of it opening, just for our kids now that they're bigger. So lots coming. And then there's a lot of other announcements of theme parks. I mean, Universal's going to have that smaller kid theme park in Texas that they're working on. And I guess I'm still a little bit cautiously optimistic about the merger of Six Flags and Cedar Fair. Although this week there's been some really unfortunate announcements, or at least like people just guessing as to what's going to happen. But that could be a potential player down the road, not right away if they do things right. So just excited to see the theme park community growing and innovating. And I think that's good for everyone.
Yeah, I think it's really exciting. Epic Universe, like you said, looks really great. I do think that the construction that you mentioned for Disney is Disney's response to that. If they find that they're behind and that response is not enough and they are losing market share quickly, then who knows? Maybe in the next 5-10 years we'll see, or in the next year or two, we will see more exciting announcements about the next 5 to 10 years. But I totally agree with you. I think as long as Universal is innovating, then Disney has to innovate as well, which means both theme parks are going to innovate, and we're going to see a lot more exciting things. And so I think that's going to be a lot of fun to monitor and a lot of fun to visit as well. So really looking forward to Epic Universe, and on the Disney side of things, looking forward to what Disney comes up with in response to Epic Universe. I think partially in response to Epic Universe, Disney has made some changes this year, which I think lead into what is the third thing I'm thankful for. And that is, I'm thankful that staying on site at Disney feels like it has a real benefit again. I think there's two factors that are making it feel that way. The first is it seems less onerous to get dining reservations than it used to be, especially if you're on site. I think if you're on site and you use your extended window, you can pretty much find the majority of the restaurants that you want. And so Disney has done a good job of, I'm not sure what levers they've been pulling in terms of space and whatnot, dining reservation availability, but that's been a lot better. And staying on site, that has felt a lot better to get those dining reservations. I think they may have also even done something on the back end where sometimes the resort that you're staying at, they're a little bit friendlier to you. I don't have any proof of that, but it just anecdotally, it feels that way. And then, of course, the other thing that really matters to you and me a lot, Leslie, and that Disney has done with people who are staying on site is they have made Lightning Lane Multipass with the invention of Lightning Lane Multipass, or the invention of paid Fast Pass, if you want to call it that. I'm not going to necessarily say I'm thankful for the system in general, but if that system is going to exist, we who like to stay on site do have a solid benefit, a solid advantage now, being able to book those Lightning Lane multi passes 7 days in advance. Of course, that is if we're not going to spring 12 times more for the Lightning Lane Premier Pass. But if we're just getting the regular multi pass, that 7 day, being able to book for your entire vacation for that 7 days. I mean, it's not only an on-site benefit, but it's also great to not worry about it the morning of. I think that has made a big difference in planning as well. So thankful for all those things. Thankful that feeling on site feels a lot more worth it once more, and not just the vague saying, oh, you get to stay in the Disney bubble, which I love, but that's really hard to explain to people what that really means.
Yeah, exactly. I'm glad to see some more of those benefits coming back. I mean, of course, if we don't have Magical Express, there needs to be something more concrete as to what you're getting for staying on Disney property. And this is smart on Disney's part too, because when you do have things like Epic Universe that you're competing against, you still want to get people staying in your hotels and not Universal's hotels. So it's a win-win, I think, for guests and for Disney, hopefully. Hopefully. All right. Well, my third and final thing that I am thankful for, I am actually thankful this year for a lot of the deals and discounts that have been out there. I know the headlines this year that Disney, that have been out there about Disney, have been that Disney's prices are going up. It's unaffordable to the average family. And there is plenty of truth in that. But there's also plenty of truth in the fact that Disney is hearing that, and they're trying to find ways to decrease the prices at certain times of year. So I really feel like this is Disney playing a little bit more with supply and demand. When demand is lower, they're offering deeper discounts, and families are able to go, if you have the flexibility, at a cheaper time. And then when demand is higher, you can charge out the wazoo, because you don't want the parks to be crushed and crowded. I mean, that makes sense to me from a guest perspective and a Disney perspective, maximizing their shareholder value. So, there have been some great deals. There's going to be the $50 kid ticket returning to Disneyland in January, February, early March. They had that last year. There was that 3 parks in 3 days and the 4 parks in 4 days ticket that they had at Disney World. Disneyland had a summer deal that usually is only available to Southern California residents. It was available to all guests this past summer. So lots of little things like that. And then, of course, you add on the on-property hotel discounts if you go during lower seasons. And I think if you're working at it a little bit harder, if you have that flexibility, you can still find ways to do Disney for the same price, or maybe even less, that you were doing a year or 2 or 3 ago. But it takes that flexibility. It takes that work. And, yes, on average, the prices are higher, but glad there's still some bright spots for families who are more on a budget.
Yeah, I mean, I think the ticket discounts were the real eye openers this year, and I expect them to continue in 20. I mean, we're already seeing them continue at Disneyland in 2025, but I expect them to come for Disney World in 2025 as well. Demand was lower this year. I think in Florida, especially with the aforementioned Epic Universe pressures, not necessarily that demand is going to be lower, but they're going to feel like they're competing for people's dollars as they come to Central Florida. And so I think it's going to continue, and I am really thankful for it as well. I feel like, just again, anecdotally, maybe I should have done some spreadsheets to actually check the data, but it just feels like people were able to get more for the same amount this year, especially this summer with those 4-day for Park Magic tickets, where it was about $100 a day. People were saving $200 per ticket, because like a 4-day ticket is around $600, and people were spending, okay, maybe with tax it was like saving $150 per ticket, but of course across a family of 4, that's $600 saved, and people are saving a lot of money. These $50 kids tickets at Disneyland are great. I mean, that is some serious savings, and really benefits those of us who have more than 2 kids. So I think these are great deals, something to be thankful for, and something to look forward to, I think in 2025, I think we're still going to see that.
For sure. I forget what it was that you texted me earlier this week. You said you saw one of the All Stars for like $105 a night. There's some good deals out
Yeah,
there,
it was
right?
103, I think. Yeah. So
103.
yeah. So I
Dang.
mean, there's room discounts as well. I mean, $103 a night, like that is like we're approaching Motel 6 levels of costs. And is All Star Sports much better than Motel 6? Maybe not, but you do get free buses every 15 minutes to the parks and a slightly nicer pool. So, and if you're at All Star Movies, you get to look through that viewfinder that we talked about a few episodes ago for the secret menu. So, yeah, lots of discounts have been out there. And so that's really good. All right, so it is Thanksgiving, so we're going to keep it shorter. I think my quick Disney do is do be thankful and positive Disney-wise. I mean, going to Disney, visiting Disney obviously is a luxury, a first world problem, and it's a privilege for us to be able to do it as part of our jobs, part of our livelihood, and to do something that we enjoy so much and work at it, I guess. But for all of you who are regular guests, I do feel like, another thing I'm thankful for, Leslie, this year is either I just paid attention less or I just talked to more of the right people. But my Disney social circles were a lot more positive this year than I feel like in years past. I do think it's just because I'm tuning out a little bit more some of that negative chatter. So my Disney do is stay with positive people, stay with people who are not like Pollyanna positive people. You want to criticize Disney when they made tons of mistakes. Okay. Disney has made tons of mistakes. The prices have gone up way too high and the quality level is dropping. So we still want to see Disney work on that, but we can give fair criticism while still staying positive and not becoming like toxic online people. Leslie, we just want to put some positivity out there in the world.
All right, no coal in your stocking this year, Joe. I like the positive outlook going into 2025. Feeling good, good vibes.
Definitely. I think it's going to be a fun year. Well, again, like we said at the top, thank you all for listening. We really appreciate that anyone takes the time to listen to our podcast as you're planning your Disney vacation. Double and special shout out to our patrons and our supporters. Whether you're still supporting now or whether you supported in the past, we really appreciate all that you've done for us and that you're willing to support us. And we really appreciate that. Leslie, before we get out of here, we know who does have coal in their stockings, and that is google.com. So where can people find you on the internet since google.com isn't sending them to you anymore?
Tripswithtykes.com. I'm at tripswithtykes everywhere on social media. What about you, Joe?
You can find me at AsJoeFlies on social media. And if you're looking to plan a Disney trip for 2025, let me know. Joseph Chung at travelmation.net with an M. I'd be happy to help you out. All right. Thank you again, everybody, for listening. And other than that, Leslie, thank you for taking the time to talk to me. And I will see you dropping your live trip reports on Patreon for the cruise that you're on right now.
Thanks, Joe.